Hello guys, it's Elle. Today I want to be talking about something that I think is important to bring up in the Gyaru community. So for those of you who don't know, there's a magazine called Egg Magazine. It features a lot of Gyarus. Um, I don't know if this has always been a thing or if it's just been a more recent thing. But I want to say like maybe the last couple of years. Um, they've started having more Kogyaru models. Kogyaru meaning it actually just means like high school gyaru, like you're in high school and you're a gyaru. Um, some of these models are not high school age; they're actually quite younger, and I think the proper term would be chibi gyaru. But there's now a new magazine specifically just for the kids, specifically for the ones that are younger than high school age. Um, and I've been seeing a lot of concerning content on this page. They have an Instagram, it's just called Gyaru. That is also the name of the magazine. And I just want to get into a few talking points before we get into the type of content that they make. So before we start talking about what is considered inappropriate for a minor within the Gyaru community, we need to talk about a lot of these stereotypes that are associated with Gyaru to give a kind of like background for this kind of thing. Gyaru, a lot of Gyarus have the stereotype of either being call girls, being very easy, and it's not necessarily sexual, but Gyaru did start for women to feel confident in their skin and to say, just because I wear things like this doesn't mean I'm this type of person, right? It's not inherently sexual, though there are some Gyarus that use the Gyaru movement to kind of like take back control in their sexuality and do become AV idols and do become more risque models, which is not uncommon. It's not inherently sexual though, so of course, anyone of any age can be Gyaru. Whether or not I particularly think they should isn't really the question, because it is for everyone. Just because that there are some of those stereotypes doesn't mean that no one under a certain age should be able to wear it. There is a stereotype of, like I said, of them being call girls and going to clubs often and things like that. But again, you don't have to do those things to be Gyaru, so it should be okay for anyone of any age to do it. I'm establishing this because I don't want to sit there and say, well, if you're under 18, you shouldn't be Gyaru. I just think we need to pay more attention to the type of things that we associate with Gyaru and what we think makes Gyaru Gyaru before just, doing whatever. Now, I think something can be said about these kids basically working as models. They even make songs, they're artists. And I don't know how, what the rules are, even in America, let alone Japan, on kids working. And I would consider this a job because they are models. They do meet for shoots, they do videos, they do interviews, they do these types of content, like they're content creators at this point. But I always want to think, well, are the parents aware of all of the content that they're making? Are the parents there 24/7 on these shoots? Because some of the things that I've seen, I don't know. Like, it seems very fishy. It seems very weird. That's always been my thing with seeing kid content creators, because we don't know who exactly they are around 24/7. We don't know if their parents are aware of these things. And now let's get into what's considered appropriate for Gyarus. Now, not every Gyaru has to wear short clothes and, be risque or show off more skin. There is such thing as being a modest Gyaru. There are sub-styles where you can wear jeans. You don't have to wear booty shorts. You don't have to wear skirts. You can wear jeans. You can wear more baggy clothing. Not everything has to be super fitted. Like, there's different sub-styles for a reason, to cater to all different types of Gyarus who have different styles or in different situations where they can't dress the way that they want to. Now let's get into the inappropriate part. And this is why I think there needs to be a talk, there needs to be a conversation within the Gyaru community about what is appropriate and what's not. Because of the treatment of the kids on the Gyaru magazine. For one, just like the Egg magazine, they do interviews on, I believe, TikTok and Instagram, where they ask Gyaru related questions, or sometimes it's not related to it. It's like love questions, like, oh, would you prefer it if your man did this or did that, type of thing. Which is okay for the adults, which is okay for, when they are of appropriate age. But they have brought some of those questions onto the Gyaru Instagram. They have been asking questions like, how old or young will you date somebody? Do you have a boyfriend? When did you have your first kiss? Things like that. And these are like kids. These are kids. And it's one of those things where it's like, isolated, that's not too bad, but I think it's very concerning that is something that you would ask like a child. Some of these kids are literally like 7 and 8, like they are young. Now some of the girls on the Gyaru magazine are like 10, 11, like preteen. I still think that's a weird question as an adult to ask a child that isn't your own. To me, it couldn't be to you, but to me, it's one of those things where it's like, it's an accumulation of things. It's like, as I'm listing it and as I'm showing like screenshots and whatnot, you're gonna realize, oh, this actually is weird. There was another interview that they did with a kid in a pool, and I thought that was very weird, because I think it's a known thing on the internet to be careful when you post your kids, simply because there are people that are very that are on the internet for the wrong reasons, and it could be something as innocent as like your kid's ballet recital, and you will notice a large amount of people in the comments are men, are older men, and they're saving these pictures, they are screenshotting these things, they're adding them to forums on Reddit, and it's for inappropriate reasons that I don't think I need to say directly for you to understand, but that is the case. And scrolling through some of the comments on these videos, because I remember seeing some of these videos, and that's what made me actually block them. I actually unblocked them for this video, because I did want to talk about it. I felt like it was weird for to just skim over it. And I did have some mutuals on Instagram talk about it, but I feel like we really need to sit down and dissect this a little bit. There were some of the comments, most of the comments that I was seeing that were negative were in either Spanish, Portuguese, and English. So I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not weird for thinking this is weird. Because, people are like, some people are like, oh, you're thinking about it weird, there's something wrong with you, this is innocent. But it was like, no, people were agreeing, like, oh, I wouldn't post my child doing this. I wouldn't want to scroll on Instagram and see somebody post my child in a way like this. There was also a photo shoot where I guess they were trying to have like a couple photo shoot, and it was, again, by itself you could see it as just like two kids hugging, but it's weird when you can tell that the kids didn't really want to touch one another in this photo shoot. And again, it's just like a random adult like recording this, taking photos of this. And I have not went through their magazine. I do not own one of their magazines, so I cannot really tell you the content that is within the magazine. I can only tell you that from the photo shoots that I've seen and from the interviews I've seen, it was very shocking. I do want to say, on their videos, the Japanese is translated very weirdly, and that's why I'm having to say these are the type of questions that they were asking, because I think on the one where they were asking how old would you date or how young you would date, they said the question was, how old are you in love? It's like, I don't know. The translations are weird, but I did want to talk about that. They also, there's one instance that was outside of Gyaru Instagram. It was somebody else. It was supposedly an account run by the girl's mother. But it was very weird. It felt like it shouldn't have been on Instagram. I remember a lot of Gyarus, especially some of my mutuals, mass reporting this post because it was weird that it was on Instagram and they wouldn't take it down. I have since blocked the account because I felt so disturbed and I couldn't remember the actual @ to it. So I couldn't go back and bring up proof. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. But there was a video of a Gyaru, a Chibi Gyaru, dancing on a pole. And I was very disturbed by it. I don't even have much words to say to that. Just that's weird. That's weird, isn't it? I'm not weird for thinking that's weird. That's weird. Something that Gyaru posted themselves was, on top of recording a child in a pool, they made a video of a child doing the splits. And again, it's one of those things where by itself it's not a bad thing, but to remember, these are not their parents. These are not home videos of any sort. They're setting up these videos. They're giving them kids like prompts, like, this is what you're going to do in this video, this is how it's going to look. And I was really disturbed by it because she was wearing a very short skirt. And that is another thing I want to get onto. To be Gyaru, you do not need mini skirts. You do not need booty shorts. There are appropriate kid attire that you can make Gyaru-esque. And I think when it comes to like the hair color and the makeup, I think that's very much like a person-to-person thing. I don't think I would be, giving my daughter like split hair dye at the age of 7. But I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong about that particularly. And that's what I'm saying, where there are things that are kind of appropriate for a child to do, because it's something that anyone can do. I probably wouldn't dye their hair or bleach their hair. I would probably, do a little hair chalk. Like we all did that when we were growing up. Or the spray hair stuff. Like if my kid was interested in Gyaru, there are ways I could add, make their outfits more Gyaru-esque when they wanted to. But I think the mini skirts, the crop tops, like those are things that I wouldn't be allowed to wear as a child. And I don't want to seem like I'm projecting, where it's like, well, I wasn't allowed to wear that, so you should be allowed to wear it. But it's like, it's just an amalgamation of everything. Like, Gyaru already being very sexual to people who are not Gyaru. And then you have kids doing the splits in mini skirts. It's weird. It's weird. It needs to be talked about. I don't know what I want the end goal for this video to be, other than to bring it up and make it a conversation within the community, because I think it's very concerning. And I don't want more Chibi Gyarus or Gyarus seeing this type of content and then going, oh, I can do that, I should make this type of content. Because I'm a child of the internet too. There were some things that I was doing because I seen it on the internet and thought it was cool to do because I was unsupervised. I don't want these kids to see this and be like, to be Gyaru, I need to wear a mini skirt. To be Gyaru, I need to be dancing on a pole. I need to be making TikToks of me in a pool in my bikini. Like, no thank you. Like, that's weird. I think that's all I have to say about the situation. I don't know if there's anything that's gonna like change the Instagram account or the magazine that's gonna make them change their ways. But I do think it's a topic that needs to be brought up to keep these children safe. But yeah, that was it. Just a bit of a more serious video. But thank you guys for watching and stay tuned next week.